Here we are at one of the most difficult circuits on the racing calendar. Welcome to Monaco for today's Formula One qualifying. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
Fantastic. You've got pole.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. The engineer, Verstappen and Kimi Räikkönen. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race. Motor racing has come a long way since the first Grand Prix of the early 20th century. We have faster cars, bigger circuits, highly trained drivers who've dedicated their lives to racing. But still, we return here. Still, it remains the most desired victory in Formula One. Still, we race the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars climb around 40 metres up through Beau Rivage, onto the casino, and then descending down towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners here, 7 to the left and 11 to the right. There's one single DRS zone as well, so don't expect that to make overtaking any easier today. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Why don't we discuss McLaren? They haven't had any retirements in the last 5 races. What do you think that says about the reliability of their car?
I think they can be fairly pleased with that record so far. The first thing any good car needs is a solid, reliable base with which to build on, and they seem to have that this season.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. The engineer lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Raikkonen, Sainz, Devon Butler and Leclerc, Bottas, Gasly, Hamilton and Lucas Faber, Vettel, Perez, Kevin Magnussen and Grosjean, Norris, Ricciardo, Alexander Albon and Antonio Giovinazzi. Hülkenberg and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid, and with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble. Okay, go through all the gears if you this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap. Don't forget, box this lap. Complete, go now. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. The car ahead is coming to fit the mediums. Car ahead, now running medium tyres. We advise moving to mix 2, fuel to mix 2. Time to use some of this charge. Teammate by 3.0 seconds. Okay, you have some front wing damage, but not enough to justify a stop in the remaining laps. There's only one lap of fuel remaining. Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
It was a tough race at times, but they've held on to take a great victory for McLaren today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. The engineer increases their championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
My driver of the day has to be, no question, Antonio Giovinazzi. Such an assured drive from one of the sport's newer stars, and a performance he can be very, very proud of.
Let's move on to the constructors. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Toro Rosso's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.